Welcome everyone to the Battle for Zendikar pre-release. The very first Battle for Zendikar draft on the Windmill Slam channel, featuring only Denis at the moment, I'm afraid, because I wanted to record this as soon as possible, as soon as the events went live, and Oisin wasn't able to make it this evening, but that's fine. Hopefully this draft fires. There we go. Ooh, Foil Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. Seems like a pretty good, valuable first pick. I'm going to look up how much that's worth right off the bat. That's pretty nice. Omnath's good too, though. 2 mythics, Denis. Nailed it. So, yeah. Probably won't have time to look up both. I'm doing it on my phone as we speak. But I imagine the Foil Ulamog is worth more. Right? Have to imagine. Oh, my internet's gone. Well, I'm going to take the Ulamog because it doesn't commit me to any colours anyway, and I can feasibly cast it. The best card in the pack is probably this Eldrazi Sky Spawner. Almost certainly. But yeah, boy, Ulamog's pretty good. So let's snap it up. That's a pretty great way to start the draft. So yeah, I've had a little bit of experience with the format. I did a sealed pre-release. I did 2 drafts at my local store, the War Chest, and I did a PPTQ, which means I got to do another sealed. And fortunately, because I made top 8, I got to do another draft. So I've had a couple of reps with the set. Not a huge amount, but certainly some. Okay. Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger is $45 in paper and a solid 15 tickets online, so that's pretty nice. In that vein, this makes it 1 less to cost. That's a kind of a ramp spell. It's also a double coloured card though, so I'm not too interested in picking it up right now. Apparently the art isn't loaded properly for a lot of these cards, evidently. Specifically the Devoid ones. Weird. What's the strongest card here? De Jure Warcall is pretty strong in an ally deck, but I kind of want to try and cast this Ulamog, to be honest. So, Eyeless Watcher gets us the closest by making 2 spawn. Grave Birthing is a great intermediate card though, but I think starting in green is a good place if we're going to want to try and ramp to the old Ulamog. And I mean, also there's not a huge amount of stuff in it. This is good, but I think I want to try and cast the Ulamog, don't I? I mean, it's the first draft of the set. You gotta try cast the Ulamog, right? You gotta go for it. With that in mind, yeah, the best card in this pack is probably just this Touch of the Void, with this Stone Fury being right behind it. Serene Steward is actually pretty solid, pretty good. If you get some incidental left gain, like with this, for example. But I think I just want this Touch of the Void. Mist Intruder is nice if you're going to be enabling stuff. Smite the Monstrous is a super solid removal spell, but I think I'd rather have Touch of the Void rather than Smite. We can pick up a Nettle Drone, and then we'll be glad to have the Devoid one rather than the not Devoid one. I think I like Touch of the Void a little bit better than Smite. Maybe that's insane. Although, I mean, this enables processors and stuff. I think I just want this. Anticipates a solid card as well. And I think I want it more than I want Stone Fury. Well, this is a sorcery, and this is instant. This can kill more things than this can, but this exiles them, and this costs 3, and this costs... Yeah, I'm going to take Touch of the Void. I may come to regret that pick in the week as the weeks unfold, but okay. Natural Aggression is a pretty solid spell that's in our colors. Bone Splinters is solid as well. If you have some Scions to sack to it, that's no joke. Infused with the Elements is something I'm not overly interested in, unfortunately. Oh, so sick. Hopefully Omnath isn't worth more. I didn't actually check. I assumed the Foil Ulamog would be worth more than the Omnath, but didn't have time to check both. Yeah, Omnath is currently worth 1 ticket, so I'm going to take this Unnatural Aggression, I believe, and I think I'm pretty okay with it. This is kind of going against the ramping thing, but I mean, if we just have some beef, this is just a nice card to have. And I mean, we don't have to play the Ulamog. The only reason I took the Eyeless Watcher is because I would like to cast the Ulamog in the first draft I do on the channel. And I don't think anyone can fault me for that. I would like to cast the Titan. A force as voracious as time itself. Plus, it's just a win. You just instantly win the game in Limited. So that's pretty good. If it attacks. Even if it gets countered, you still exile 2 things. Yeah, you just win the game if I can cast that. And I've cast 10 mana spells in Battle for Zendikar Limited so far. It's not insane. I mean, it's pretty insane. What do you do? Deathless Behemoth. Oh, yeah. It's just 6 mana 6/6. And I could get you back if I let you gobble up some Scions. 6 mana 6/6 Vigilance is no joke, to be honest. I think I'd rather have this Grave Birthing though. I'm not married to this Touch of the Void. Grave Birthing's a super solid card. The site replaces itself, makes a Scion. It ramps. Oran Wreath Invoker though is very good as well. And it might just be better. Doesn't branch into another colour. I think I want it more than I want the Brute Hunter Worm. It's an early blocker that lets us survive long enough to do some rampy stuff and maybe cast Ulamog. It's also a late game mana sink in the event that our ramp doesn't hit it, we don't get to Ulamog. So I think I want that a little more. Here, Ruin Processor. Outnumber, I don't know if it's going to be an outnumber deck, but it's a good card. It's either the Ruin Processor or the outnumber. I'm not really interested in this Earthen Arms. Could take the gold card. 4 mana 3/3 trample. Gets +2/+2. It's no joke. We are currently in red and green. Yeah, get in. I've been a little underwhelmed with that number in my experience. I mean, it's never terrible, and there's a couple of 1 toughness things. Nailing a Nettle Drum with it is pretty nice when you only have one guy. But it's just I had a Nettle Drone and my opponent had a Nettle Drone, and I cast Outnumber targeting his Nettle Drone, and in response, these were the only creatures on the battlefield. I cast Outnumber targeting his Nettle Drone, and in response, he cast Outnumber targeting my Nettle Drone, which, if you run the numbers, is just a disaster for me. Fertile Thicket. This is one that gets you lands, isn't it? I don't love this card. I don't love a lot of them. I like the red, white, and blue ones. I don't like the green and black ones of these lands. I mean, this makes one landed hands a little more keepable, and I think I'm going to take it over Reckless Cohort, I would imagine. Is a 2-drop that must attack a lot of the time, unless we get some more allies better. I guess I'll take the Thicket, but I really don't want to run it. I really don't like these cards. Like, I've never... And Mortuary Mire seems to be one of the better ones, and every time I play it, I'm just like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put a thing from my bin in my graveyard. I'd rather not do that. Or a thing from my graveyard on top of my library. Top deck seems to be pretty prevalent in this set, as far as I can tell. Like, top decking wars, I mean. Nettle Drone, delicious. I don't mind you, but Nettle Drone is awesome. Got a couple of nice colorless spells. But it's just a super solid card. Ulamog's Reclaimer, this is good too. Super solid. I don't remember these guys. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's pretty nice. McKindy Patrol is a fine card. Culling Drone's great too. That's a really solid card. But Nettle Drone I'm happy to pick up here. Maybe we're like a red-green value rampy devoidy thing. Maybe that's what we're doing. None of these are any good, so I'm going to take the Plummet in case I need it. I actually have seen that flyers are pretty good in this set because it's tough. Again, I'm speaking from my limited experience, but it's been tough to deal with them. So having a Plummet in case your opponent does have some big scary, the landfall flyer in blue or whatever, or the angel at rare, that kind of stuff. It's nice to have that little ace in your sideboard. So let's hope to open a second foil. I think that'd be a great way to continue the draft. Or I guess just an expedition. That'd be good too. They're not going to be worth as much online because they're not redeemable, but still almost certainly what we end up taking. How many green cards do we have? Actually quite a few. I mean, I also have quite a few red cards, so we're pretty married at this point. So I don't want to take this particularly. I guess I'll take the Upheaval. And that's what I'll do. And be okay with it. People have been citing that in against... I'm going to close the door. Hang on a sec. And I'm also going to close the window. Oh, Blister Pod's solid. I like Blister Pod more than Reckless Cohort. Blister Pod is good if we end up wanting to be the rampy deck because it's an early speed bump for an aggressive deck. You can totally trade it for some number of cards. And when you can't, you play it, it blocks something, gains you 2, maybe 3 life and leaves behind a Scion, which can A, block better, and B, we can sack to ramp out our Ulamog. We're really going to want like a Hedron... Oh, Ulamog's hard to cast. We're really going to want like a Hedron Archive, or... I mean, ideally, what's the rare guy that goes and fetches stuff and makes it 2 cheaper? That'd be pretty good. I can't remember what his name is. Conduit of Ruin, maybe? What's more annoying? I guess this. Could probably just take that island. It's a sweet island. Yeah, Foil Ulamog is currently worth 15 tickets online, but I mean that the set's only been out here for literally 3 minutes as I record this, so maybe that'll climb. It's hard to say. I guess I'll hold on to it for a day or two, maybe. I think people are underestimating this card, and indeed this card. These are both really solid. I'm more scared of that than Grave Breathing, I think. I'm going to be pretty disappointed if I end up having to not play Ulamog, but what you going to do? Pretty sick open, though. Pretty sick rip. Certainly happy about it. Things have gone horribly awry. Things have gone Geyser Field. That doesn't really work. Entering the Battle for Zendikar staple, I think, where people are not going to be leaving the land till last. Although this card's not bad at all. It's not great, but I don't think it's bad. I've only had a cast against me twice. I think it's by the same person, and it wasn't hugely impactful either time. But you know, it's the end of the Planar Outburst. That's probably worth a pretty penny, at least for the moment. It's the Wrath. It's the Wrath of choice. So let's see what the internet says. $1.30 in paper, 65 cents online. What do we want then? Processor Assault. It's kind of rough to get that online. The fact that it costs 2 is largely mitigated by the fact that you can't cast it on turn 2 basically ever. Guess I'll just take the big beefy Bailoff. Nice big beefy card to hold off the game. Maybe I'm leaning too hard in Ulamog, and we're just drafting like a solid red-green deck here. But yeah. Bailoff for me there, I believe. I do want to cast the Ulamog though. I gotta be honest, I really do. Don't think this is a Molten Nursery deck, in that I don't know that a Molten Nursery deck necessarily exists. I would love this Nettle Drone, but I think I just want the Stone Fury. I think I just want the Stone, lol, cold removal. Titan's Presence, I mean, currently hits Nettle Drone, which is good. Blister Pod, which is less good. Ulamog, which is insane. I don't want to. I almost want to take that just to show my foil Ulamog. But hits the Watcher, which is obviously no good. Has to be less than a Rico. So these can hit one pair of things, but not much else. Yeah, I'd love that Nettle Drone. Be a nice little role player, but I think Stone Fury's better in almost all cases. Plus, we got that first Nettle Drone super late, so there's actually a slight chance we could wheel it. His arms are all weird and CGI-esque. I don't know if I like it. Maybe it's supposed to be like that, to like make them look kind of off-putting, because they're supposed to be weird and gross and stuff. Kozilek's Channeler is exactly what I want. Ugh, another Stone Fury though. Kozilek's Channeler though is just a super rock solid card. 5 mana 4/4, and I mean you're basically sold. That's what Territorial Bailoff is some percentage of the time. But tapped at 2 mana to your mana pool, we are sold, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renewal, not so much. Stone Fury, I mean, I took this one, so I would like a second one, but I think our deck wants a Kozilek's Channeler if we ever want to have a hope of casting the Ulamog. If we get matched up against super aggressive, ally landfally opponents, we might be in trouble. But in my experience, a lot of the games in this do go quite late. Do go really, really late. And having a card like Ulamog in your deck is a real nice payoff for those slow games. Firemantle Mage, what allies do we have? Exactly 0. I believe this isn't randomly an ally, is it? I'd imagine not. Yeah, so 3 mana 2/2 I'm not super interested in. Sylvan Scrying. Yuck. It's not even a Rampant Growth. Gross. Yuck. I think I'm taking the Devastator. I'm not happy about it, but I don't want any of these cards. So if we get some more ramp spells, maybe having an 8-drop as an insurance plan for when we don't draw our Ulamog is nice. Snapping Gnarling is just a hyper strong card though. Ooh, a Spawning Bed though. Spawning bed's real good. Spawning bed's real good. I'm gonna take spawning bed, I believe. Snapping Garland is really good, but Spawning Bed does a bunch of things really well in that it's a spell, so it doesn't take up it's a land, so it doesn't take up an actual slot in your deck. Here, I suppose we want a Vestige Emrakul, which is pretty fine. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, it's a land, so it doesn't take up a spell slot, which is very nice. It's kind of pretty good, though. Although it's not a great blocker, and maybe we're a little grindier than that. Yeah, it doesn't take up a spell slot, which is great. It helps us hit Ulamog, you know. It only really takes from 7 to 9 because you have to sack this. But 7 to 9 is only 1 off from 10. And I feel like any game where I cast this, I must just win the game. I exile my opponent's 2 best creatures and put a 10/10 indestructible onto the battlefield that essentially kills them as soon as it attacks. That's pretty business. We're gonna need some more 2-drops and 3-drops, I think. I think that's an issue. Instant speed rampant growth. This I might be able to get behind. 3 mana instant speed rampant growth. Don't really have any other instance. What this card's nice with is if you can, you know, if you're leaving up mana for a counter spell or an instant speed removal spell or anything like that, and if they don't do something you want to kill or counter, then you can do this. We currently don't have any of that because unfortunately Touch of the Void is a sorcery, which is counterintuitive. Can't believe 3 mana, 3 damage is too good to be an instant. Apparently. This is awesome art, though. I like it a lot. He's not having a good day. He is having a great day. Channeling stuff. In the dark places of our world, something horrible is growing. I fear our foes may be more numerous than we had imagined. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, heads up, for the rest of the entire set, and indeed the whole format, whenever I cast a big Eldrazi thing, I'm going to do the Terminator. Nice. Terminator 2 thing. The dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. It's going to never get old. I don't think I want this. Oh, I must want this more, right? Because now I have this and this. Yeah, now oh no, sorry, this is I'm an idiot. This is the process one, obviously. I can take the rune processor. I don't want to overload the top end of my deck. This is kind of all the top end that I want. And I mean, a 7 mana 7/8, while big, is not really. I mean, hopefully we'll have exiled something by then. This is actually just a 3 mana 2/3, basically all the time, so I'm okay with that. And you know, if we get the elf, which would be ideal, the 2/1, what's it called? The 2 and a green for 2 and the taps for any color of mana. We'd love that card because it pushes us towards this end of the deck, but also it means that some percentage of the time we'll be able to cast this as a 3/4 because we tap a forest, then a mountain, and we tap the elf for something for a swamp. So the way Converge works is because an opponent tried to pull this on me at the pre-release. If you have a land like Spawning Bed and you use it to tap for mana, colorless doesn't count for Converge because you'll see it's for each color of mana, and colorless is pretty typically not considered a color. I don't know if how much I need to highlight that, but it is generally not considered a color. 5 mana 4/4. Oh, Blighted Gorge is just insane though. I was gonna take this. I saw the Processor Assault and I was like, oh, I guess I'll just take another one of those. I believe I put the first one on our board, didn't I? Or did I not take it? I thought I took one. Anyway, but then I saw Blighted Gorge, and Blighted Gorge is just insane. Just such a good card. Well, I say insane. It doesn't have a gigantic upside, but it has such little downside. That's the thing. It's just like Spawning Bed, in that. Now these do, Spawning Bed doesn't, but Blighted Gorge does kind of go against our plan of hard casting our 7, 8, and 10 drops, in that we have to sacrifice the land. But it's still just such a nice card to have because again, it doesn't take up a spell slot, and this is a shock. This is a real spell that you play in your deck all of the time. There's my old friend Mortuary Mire. I'm not interested. I guess I'm gonna take this mountain. It's pretty cool. I want to play it. Again, we took a shock there, but you'll see our main deck count is still at 17. As a point of preference, I like to put my lands in the sideboard, and that's just so that at a glance I can see how many playable cards I have for my deck. Some people put them in here so that they don't forget about them, but I've never forgotten about lands like that, so I don't worry about it too much. I mean, you either you either account for yourself forgetting about them by putting them in here, or you account for yourself not being able to subtract this number from that number by putting them in there. And that's what I'm doing. Sick. He's probably worth something. I mean, like, a couple cents. Okay, I'm going to get the price checker ready on my phone for whatever our rare is. Hopefully it's just an expedition, so it's nice and easy. But yeah, Ulamog's essentially paid for my draft, so that's nice. It's nice to know. Certainly won't complain about that. What's this price been like ever since the set came out? Is it climbing or falling? Let me see. It's been falling. That happens to almost every card in the set, honestly. So maybe I'll just sell them as soon as possible. The set's been out in paper for a little bit now. So the prices start to stabilize. So I feel like this card is only going to drop in value, maybe? I don't like to speculate financially like that. Hopefully, like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but, like, worst case scenario, 3 or 4 tickets. And he doesn't, say I sell this immediately after this draft. He doesn't, top 8 6 out of the 8 decks in the Pro Tour. He doesn't show up in 6 of the 8 top 8 decks in the Pro Tour, and then, a foil one's worth $400. I imagine that won't happen, but you never know. I mean, this is something that annoys me about Magic Online, especially Metal Gear Online. Something that annoys me about Magic Online is that it's much cheaper to play for constructed players because cards are cheaper. This foil Ulamog is 15 tickets online. It's $45 in paper. But at the same time, it's worse for limited players because the drafts aren't really much cheaper online than they are on paper, not by a huge margin anyway. But the rares I open are worth significantly less. Case in point, 15 versus 45. It's worth, a third. So that sucks a little bit for people like me who play almost exclusively limited. But I acknowledge that I'm not, in the minority there. So they shouldn't. I can't be too sad that the economy is not centered around people like me. Why is natural aggression in the 4-drop slot? Man, it's taking a while to load these cards. Munda. Wait, Munda. I think we'll be taking a second on natural aggression. Could be wrong, but I'm going to look up how much Munda's worth. I imagine not a huge amount. It's the one that fetches other allies and puts them on top of your deck, isn't it? Yeah. If allies becomes a thing, could be worth something. Could certainly be worth something. Munda Ambush Leader. Ooh, 35 cents. So yeah, we'll be picking up another unnatural aggression here. Something that annoys me about the Devoid cards is that it's harder to tell at a glance whether this card's green or not. Which seems like a minor thing. That's because it is. But it's not that it gives me trouble, it just annoys me a little, that's all. 7 mana, 7/6 trample hexproof. This card's pretty unbeatable. I won't lie. This card's pretty unbeatable. It's certainly better than our 7 mana 7. Is it even? The hexproof is nice for sure, but and the trample's a big deal as well. This is gonna get jumped by scions or whatever. I think I'm just gonna take this Touch of the Void. I think I like to keep my opponent off my back. Maybe that's crazy, but I think that's what I want. It's because now we have 2 Touch of the Void, a Stone Fury, 2 unnatural aggression. We've got some solid removal. We want to fill out our 2 and 3 drop slot a little, and honestly at this point I'm sad because I don't think we're casting the Ulamog. But there's no way in hell I'm cutting this Ulamog. Okay? Because there's a chance we're going to cast it. And there's a chance, we got 2 of these guys. That's something. This thing, also something. This thing is a big something. Spawning Bale, we got a couple of ways to slide on up to 10 mana. And we got a lot of ways to stall the game. 3/3. Oh, anyway. 3/4 is a nice blocker. What do we hit now? Broodhunter Worm. Swell of Growth is okay. Crumble to Dust? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think I want the creature. The question is, do I want the Brood Hunter Worm or the Shatter Skull Recruit? Do I want the 4 mana 4/3 or the 5 mana 4/4 Menace? Or I don't think I want the Swell of Growth. I think I want creatures. I've got a couple of 4-drops and less 5-drops. But obviously 4-drops are a little more important because they cost less. I think I still want the 5 mana 4/4. The Swell of Growth is kind of a ramp spell. Kind of. I mean, this is a ramp spell in that it fetches land out of your deck. But the land you put down with Swell of Growth, sure, it puts you 1 mana ahead. But it also, it doesn't, you were going to play that land anyway. Because you had it in your hand. I'm getting real sad about this. We'll get another one of these, maybe. Or something. This is the angel I was talking about earlier. Am I insane to take that? Yeah, I am. I imagine Emiria Shepherd isn't worth anything. She's just so expensive. Yeah, she reanimates stuff, but she's just so expensive. I'm going to take the Tajura Stalwart just as a Gadooter. I don't think I want the outnumber. Got enough removal, if such a thing exists. That's where I find that Emiria Shepherd. I mean, Emiria Shepherd wouldn't be here if it was worth $1 million. So, Emiria Shepherd. Yeah, 99 cents in paper, 50 cents online. So, that's fine. I'm really going to try and naturally cast Ulamog. That is just madness. I mean, if we cast this, and then we cast this. On turn 6, if we hit another land drop, we'll have 9 mana. You know? Getting there. Do I want a Vestige of Emrakul or another Touch of the Void? I probably just want another Touch of the Void. I probably want as many of these as I can get. Maybe I'm overvaluing this, but I probably just want this. Although the 3/4 Trample is a great blocker. I probably just want the Touch of the Void, though. If I could cast this every turn and that was all I did every turn, you'd probably win that game. Until they play at 3/4. then you're in trouble. But, I mean, it does race it if you do that. So we're currently at 22. I'd like to replace some stuff, maybe. Maybe I'd rather another 2-drop other than this Blister Pod, probably. Probably don't want... Like, it is almost certainly just correct to just cut the Ulamog. We just didn't get there on the ramp, okay? It just didn't happen. Even with the Spawning Bed, the Channeler, the 2 Watchers, this thing, and I guess technically this, we just didn't get there. But I can't! Guys, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to cut it. I can't do it. The hilarious thing is, like, it's a card you never want to see in your opening hand, and it's a card you almost never want to draw. But when you do draw it, and you can cast it, you just win the game on the spot. And I personally think, what do we want here? I think at this point I'll take an outnumber. And I think I'll cut a Rune Processor. Is an 8/9 better than a 7/8? Not much. And Trample better than 7/8? Certainly better. Is the 1 mana a huge difference? I think it is. Because, I mean, we can cast the Rune Processor off just the Kozilek's Channeler. We need an extra land to cast the Devastator. And, I mean, now that we have so much of the Voids, and these unnatural aggressions, this is going to be able to process a good percentage of the time. And then we gain 5 life. 40 creatures is certainly enough for outnumber, especially with these 2 guys that make multiples and the Spawning Bed. Ooh, you're better than Blister Pod, aren't you? I think you might be. I think you might be, my friend. I think you might be. I don't want to cut the Rune Processor and the Devastator, because if we channel and do all this crap and then we just have an Ulamog, I mean, I guess now that we have 2 of these, that's actually a lot better, because we can pump 8 mana into them to make them 7/7s. 7/7 Tramplers, no less, which is already better. Not better, but, certainly comparable to an 8/9 Trample. But the fact is, we played this as a 2/2, and we could have attacked with it and blocked with it, and probably deterred some attacks from our opponent and gained us some life. I think people undervalue this card. I think it's really good. And the other one, the red one's awesome as well. Super good. Ooh. Yes. I believe. I got excited to see the Nettle Drone, but I think I'm more excited for this Call the Silence. Yeah. Yeah, I am. So what's suboptimal? Natural connection? Probably. Call the Silence is just better than that. I think. Is this Grove Rumbler any good? It's probably still fine. I guess I'll take this in case you really need something to hit. Need to hit something. Say they have that enchantment that exiles multiple things. You know. Oh, if they exile my Ulamog, whew, I'm gonna be a mad man. Mad man. Belligerent Whiptail, that's a good card. That is genuinely a good card. Am I being too enchanted by this being a gold card? Because I think the Whiptail might just be better. I mean, a 4-2 is better than a 3-3. I think. Because, I mean, it's a better blocker. It's a worse attacker. The trample isn't a huge deal, I don't think. A 5-5 trample? How comparable is that to a 4-2 first strike? I mean, yeah, the 5-5 wins. But, I mean, the 5-5 does just get blocked by 2-2 and a 3-3. Whereas this doesn't. Although I suppose it actually does. And this only trades for one and this trades for both of them. Yeah. I'm going to take this in case it's something we really can't answer, but I imagine with our Touch of the Voids, our Natural Aggression, and our Outnumber, we should be fine. Call the Signs now also makes 2 more things for Outnumber. So while we have 14 creatures, 2 of them are actually 3 creatures, and one of them is also an additional 2 creatures. One of our non-creature spells is an additional 2 creatures, and the Spawning Bed is also 3 creatures. So we shouldn't have too much trouble hitting critical mass for Outnumber to deal 2 or 3 damage. Which is perfect, that's great. Okay, honestly, I think if I just put this in, cut this, and like maybe put in like, I don't know, like a war paint maybe it was just this Earthen Arms is just fine. I don't like this card, but it's not insanely terrible. 7 mana. Holy crap. Oh, that's better. Never mind. So, like, this is just a better deck. This is just a better deck. I'm going to cut one of these Eyeless Watchers, I think, because I don't think it's very good. And I'm going to put in that instant speed Natural Connection. Because now we have a Grove Rumbler and a Belligerent Whiptail and 2 Territorial Baloths. Having instant speed landfall is no joke. So now I've just constructed a solid red-green deck that's just good. And I don't play my foil Ulamog, and that sucks, but I think this deck's better. In fact, it almost certainly is just better. Like, look. So I convert mana cost, group creatures separately. Put Call of Signs in as a 3-drop. Be sad that these stalwarts are just 3 mana 2/3s. I mean, God, I hope they're 3 mana 2s. I hope they're not 3 mana 1/2s. But I need the creatures. I think I need the creatures. I mean, I know it says 13, but, you know, it's really 14. And that's fine. Put in this, put in this. I'm not going to play that Thicket because I think we're going to be tapping out every turn. 8 of each and we're done. And he's staring at me, guys. He's just staring at me. But I can't do it. Ulamog, today is not your day, and I'm sorry. I accidentally drafted a deck that's just good enough without you. So